We start with the basic shapes. Then I start with the overall blocking out. You can see the shoulders, the general proportion of the face, the like planes on the sides. And this stage is the stage where you have all the possibility to change and explore the different shapes, where you can really easily and dramatically change the character, you know? So really take your time to explore at this stage and really try to figure out the character's basic shapes and the general flow of the character. Is this character good? Is it evil? Just different kind of things, you know? So really try to discover and explore the character in this stage. Now I'm going to like refine the overall anatomy, refine the overall sculpture. I'm testing some shapes with the hair and stuff like that. I'm blocking it out. I'm testing out if the idea with the hair actually works. And so I then can remove the hair to work on the overall, you know, Ganondorf mesh, of course, and then add the hair again afterwards. But I need to see the overall character before I can make a decision, you know? Making sure that most of the shapes are triangular by making them sharp and pointy. The more triangular shapes I'll use, the more like scary and evil he will look. So really make sure that you push the triangular and sharp and pointy look to really make him stand out as a villain and make him a little bit more, yeah, just evil. Adding some muscle anatomy, refining the overall shapes. Then just refining the lips, moving it a little bit inwards just to change the proportions. As I said, it's still very easy, still early in the process, so it's very simple to make some really quick changes. Refining the eyes, making sure the eye shapes look kind of evil, kind of mean, and just works from the very basic shapes. You can see I'm like just moving around the proportions in the face just to try to get a more of a likeness to the like reference images that I had. So just moving the overall shapes around, trying to refine, adding another subdivision level. And you can see here just refining the overall shapes of the ear. So now I'm going to duplicate the Ganondorf subtool and start with blocking the hair on this newly duplicated subtool. I'm going to be shaping the hair, I'm going to give the hair a lot of shape, a lot of like S-curves, and just trying to design it. Just as I did with the like proportions and basic block out with Ganondorf, like head. So the same tactic and just look at a lot of reference, it's really helpful. Now on the duplicate subtool I will be removing everything that isn't hair, so only the hair is left. There are two different subtools, one for the Ganondorf and one for the hair, the two different subtools. And then I'm going to be refining the hair using the damp standard, the standard brush, and smooth brush, and even the clay buildup brush. The clay buildup brush can give this nice texture if you leave the texture pretty sharp, and then use the like damp standard and standard brush to really give this like hair strength in the hair to really help this like shape language and shape direction, everything like this, trying to give the overall shape some more feeling and some more life to it, you know? So really try to focus on this to give the hair a little bit more character. Now I'm starting to fix the overall proportions and refining, looking at the face and hair proportion as a whole instead as like individual pieces. This is really important. How does the hair and the general like face look together, not just as separate objects, you know, but how do they look together? Do they complement each other? Does it work in one cohesive piece? Just making sure that follow the S-curves of all these like different hair strands, so it's easier for the hair to look more artistic. Adding the overall strands in the eyebrows. Yeah, I'm just moving around proportions, just playing a little bit with the character, trying to get a better result. It's quite fun actually getting to just play around with the general proportions. But it can be quite stressful if you trying to go for a likeness as I did here. Making sure that the angry like expression on Ganondorf's face, this like villain-like expression really reads through, and really make sure that you like just refine the overall proportions, make sure that you like, you know, like push this downwards, make the mouth a little bit more angry, and really try to push these proportions, trying to push them towards the like more evil look and more angry / cranky, a little bit of grumpy look. So really try to focus on that. Just adding the eyes and then just blocking the overall shapes in, you know, blocking the iris, then the pupil, and then I'm going to be just using palette paint to just quickly make a rough sketch of the color of the eyes. We will be refining this a little bit later. So yeah, that's just the very basics of it. Then I just keep working on the general proportions. It's, yeah, super straightforward, just refining a little bit, making sure that all the proportions looks like well together, refine a little bit around the eyes, and just making sure that, yeah, like the planes of the face is there, that you can read like the anatomical parts of the face, that everything is coherent, and that it actually looks like a sculpture, you know? Alright, so now I'm just gonna keep working on the angry expression, making small changes, trying to make the overall character come to life a little bit more. Just working at the character as a whole, trying to make this character work. Alright, so I started redoing the pole paint for the eyes, making sure the material is shiny. I used the material toy plastic, then I started with the blocking in a black background for the iris. Then I blended in some orange with some yellow pupil and a dark shadow. Now I just ZBrushed my newly created polygroups to make my life a little bit easier. Finding some final proportion of the face, trying to make them work a little bit better together, making the sculpture as a whole work together. So yeah, some final tweaks here and there. It's always fun, and you always get like a little bit better and a little bit better, and from nowhere you have a piece that looks, yeah, kinda alright. I started out with masking out the base of the jewelry to be able to extract that mask to then be able to sculpt on top of the extracted like mesh. I extracted a cool gemstone like thing on top of the like jewelry base, and then I zero mesh this gem just to be able to then finally use the Mudbox to shape this gem to the desired shape. I maxed out the pattern to then be able to extract it. I used the top polygroup, then I auto polygrouped it, then I used C-modeler to extrude it to final sharpening it up by using the Accio curve. Masking out the pattern to then be able to extract it, using the top polygroup and deleting the rest, then I auto polygrouped it, then I used C-modeler to extrude it to final sharpen it up by using the Accio curve. Then I added ear jewelry, and it's super simple. I just put it on one side and I just mirror it over to the other. Super simple. I extracted cloth, sculpted the folds and wrinkles, and then you have this like colored like edge on this like cloth. So for that I just used poly paint and just basically masked out the like edge and then just color it in with poly paint. Super simple. Adding the hair jewelry, I just used the same methods as I've already covered in this video, but I sharpened it up by using trim dynamic and zero measure to simplify the shapes. For the rest of the jewelry I used the same methods. The only thing I did different was for the main chest piece I used C-modeler to shape the main chest piece, and then for this like coin like jewelry I just used cylindrical subtools and just moved it into place. That's basically what I did. So yeah, that's my version of Ganondorf from Tears of the Kingdom.